Okay, you've done it. You entered all your slips, you've claimed every deduction you can think of. You are right at that final screen, staring at the button to see your result. But have you ever stopped to wonder, how is that final number actually calculated? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how your tax refund or, your balance owing is determined.
This is it, right? The big moment. The one question everyone wants answered. Are you getting money back or do you have to pay? Believe it or not, it all comes down to one surprisingly simple calculation.
And look, the good news is the hard part is over. Seriously, all that data entry, digging for receipts, that's all behind you. Now we get to the fun part, actually understanding the why behind that number you're about to see. As crazy as it sounds, your entire tax return, all those forms, all those boxes, it all boils down to one single straightforward formula. So let's break it down.
Yep, it really is this simple. First, the software adds up your total payable. That's just the total amount of tax you owe for the year, based on your income. Then, it subtracts your total credits. And these are all the things that chip away at that tax bill. The number you're left with, that's your final result.
Now this is super important. Not all credits are created equal. Think of the tax you owe as a bill for, say, $100. Non-refundable credits can wipe that bill clean right down to zero. But that's where they stop. Refundable credits, though, they're the real game changers. They'll also wipe the bill clean, but if there's any credit left over after that, it comes back to you as cold, hard cash. That's the real magic behind getting a refund.
So if we think of your total payable as the villain of this story, then your total credits are definitely the heroes, swooping in to save the day. So let's meet some of the most common heroes fighting on your side. These are the main players right here. We're talking about the tax your employer already took off your paychecks, any potential overpayments you made to CPP or EI, the Canada Workers Benefit, and of course some specific provincial credits. A lot of these are refundable, which, as we just learned, means they're the ones most likely to put money back in your pocket. And the best part? Your tax software finds them all for you automatically.
For most of us, the single biggest credit is the income tax that's already been deducted from our pay throughout the year. If you grab your T4 slip, you'll see that amount sitting right there in box 22. This is basically you prepaying your tax bill all year long. And it's the #1 reason most people end up getting a refund.
So, did you happen to switch jobs last year? Or maybe you worked for a couple of different employers at the same time? If you did, there's a pretty good chance you overpaid into the Canada Pension Plan or employment insurance. See, each employer deducts those amounts, but they don't know what the other one is doing. Don't sweat the math, though. Your software is smart enough to catch any overpayment and automatically claim it back for you as a credit. Another really important credit is the Canada Workers Benefit. This is a refundable credit, and it's specifically there to help supplement the earnings of low-income workers. Based on the income information you already typed in, your software will figure out if you're eligible and calculate the whole thing for you. It's a big help for a lot of people.
All right, our tax story isn't quite over yet. Think of this next part as some important side quests, because where you live in Canada adds another layer, with its own unique set of rules and credits.
Pretty much every province and territory has its own special refundable credits. Let's take an example. Meet Rosalie. She's 19, she lives in British Columbia, and she earned about $10,000. When she filed her taxes, the software automatically calculated a special BC sales tax credit just for her. And for her, that credit was $75. Now, $75 might not sound like a life-changing amount of money, but because it's a refundable provincial credit, it gets added right into her total credits, pushing that final number that much closer to a refund. It's a perfect example of how your address can actually change your tax outcome.
Now, for anyone living in Quebec, the system is a bit different. You actually file a whole separate provincial tax return. So to make sure you're not getting taxed twice, the federal government gives you a special credit. It's called the Quebec abatement.
And this is a pretty big deal. The Quebec abatement actually reduces your basic federal tax by 16.5%. It's just the government's way of saying, hey, we know Quebec handles a lot of its own programs, so we're going to give you a break on the federal side. And of course, your software applies this for you.
Okay, so we've looked at the tax you owe, and we've met the heroes, the credits that fight to bring that number down. Let's bring it all back to that simple formula and see what the final number on your screen really means.
And here we are, the moment of truth. If your total credits are bigger than your total payable, the scale tips in your favor. The final number will be negative, and that means you get a refund. If your total payable is bigger than your credits, the scale tips the other way. The result is a positive number, and you've got a balance owing. It's really that straightforward. One last thing, and this is incredibly important, especially if you see a balance owing. Scammers absolutely love tax season. So please remember, The real Canada Revenue Agency will never use aggressive, threatening language. They will never threaten you with arrest or sending the police. They won't do it, so just be careful out there.
And listen, while the software does all this amazing heavy lifting for you, at the end of the day, it's your return. So just take an extra minute, scroll back through, make sure the income on your T4s matches up. A quick little double check before you hit submit can save you a whole lot of headaches down the road.
So there you have it. The secret's out. That final number isn't some mystery cooked up by a crazy algorithm. And you know what? A refund isn't some bonus from the government. It's a return of your own money that you overpaid during the year. Understanding this simple little formula, that's not just about taxes. It's about taking control and feeling empowered about your own finances.
So, the next time you get to that final screen, you're not just going to see a number. You're going to understand the story behind it, the why. So now that you know the secret, are you ready for your result?